In the first chapter with pointing one barrel of the shotgun against mankind in general, when he found that man didn't want to retain God in his knowledge, so God gave him up to a reprobate mind, a mind that could not distinguish right from wrong, a mind that was so confused to dispel the appointing and the anointing of the new man. And he argues vehemently that when he would do good, evil always shows up. But then he thanks God that he will have victory through Jesus Christ. He now comes then to chapter 8, and chapter 8 becomes the conclusion of his presentation of the gospel. And where I began reading becomes the conclusion of the conclusion. Because now, before we leave class, he's going to ask us 3 questions. What shall we then say to these things? It is interesting, however, that now we understand the real reason why God has brought us into relate to our lives. Because the things we have found ourselves in, oftentimes without having orchestrated them ourselves, have forced us to deal with things in life that we didn't even bring on ourselves. I don't know if your life is like mine, but I just woke up one day and found that I was a member of a family that I did not choose. I didn't choose my mother, my father. I ended up being born in a particular side of town that I did not choose. I was born at a time in a nation, and I did not choose the time I was born. I am very grateful that I was not born in other eras, in other epochs, in other times. I was very grateful to God, but nevertheless, I didn't choose it. How often is it that we have looked for someone to deliver us from what it was that just naturally became our destiny? Because if I did not choose the family I was in, then it was destined that I was born in this particular family. And many times, because we will not deal with the fact that we have come into an unfriendly and foreboding world that's mixed with all kinds of nefarious and evil people that we have no power over, neither did we try in any way or could in any way shape the way they even felt about us. And yet still we have had to deal with those things that we did not bring on ourselves. I can almost hear a rat licking ice. It's going to get rough for a minute. We were born in many instances to families in our helplessness, a kind of environment that they didn't choose to have and didn't orchestrate or didn't put together. And it leaves many times an indelible print on the lead, the immaterial personality of that individual. And for years to come, that individual has to overcome the stigma and the pain of things that they did not bring on themselves. And if that is so, then that is their destiny. You've got prejudicial teachers, mean people in general, and to mix that with poverty and failure to be educated at the right time because you ended up in a situation without any guidance. A destiny we had no choice in. I mean, it was simply handed to us. And for so long we seek to cover our background backgrounds. We seek to hide our backgrounds. And if we don't try to hide them, we seek to compensate for it. And sometimes we try consciously to deny that it even existed. And we do anything to face directly dealing with certain aspects of our childhood. I'm talking to somebody. This, for the most part, then turns and brings us into intense resentment. And we end up now hating certain people and despising certain people. And it's not with a clean, clear heart that we go to a family reunion. Sometimes we go with chips on our shoulders and we go looking for folk. Many times we haven't even discussed with mother some of the things that we have experienced. And oftentimes we can end up hating her because we believe that she was there and knew it was going on, but didn't raise a hand to do anything about it. Must I stop here? Can I keep going? You see, and we're bound to it because there are things that have gone on in our lives. No matter how we scrub with soap, we cannot scrub away from our intellect those things that were so painful in our upbringing. And then we decide that we're going to bring somebody into our lives to massage and take away all of the scars of yesterday's pain. And we become doubly sensitive to their behavior because something on the inside of us make us particularly cautious when we look at them, because we have a reservoir of negative things that have happened to us. So I sit across the table looking at you with suspicion, and you have never done a thing to me, but I'm looking at you with suspicion because ain't nobody gonna treat me right. Everybody's something wrong with them. And so you're looking at me with suspicion, and then you have lowered your level